Hello from Seoul? Let me guess, you bought this Korean soybean paste to make something delicious. But sadly, it's been used only once or twice, and you never look back. If that's your story, you came to the right place. Today, I'm gonna show you 4 amazing recipes with this doenjang. Alright, let's get started. The first one is a very simple side dish, which is called Gochu Doenjang Muchim. I'll say it's like a Korean style salad made with Tenjang. First of all, let's chop 200 grams of chili peppers into bite-sized pieces. For information, this chili pepper is not spicy at all. So if you can find this kind of mild chili pepper, you can simply replace it with cucumbers or bell peppers. Otherwise, you might see yourself screaming at the restroom the next day. Now set it aside and let's make the sauce. In a mixing bowl, put 2.5 tablespoons of doenjang Korean soybean paste, 1 tablespoon of Korean chili pepper flakes, a half tablespoon of minced garlic, 2 tablespoons of corn syrup, and give it a good mix. And then all you need to do is just add in the chili peppers and gently mix it with your hands, like handling a baby. Otherwise, it might get too mushy. This time, let's add a half tablespoon of toasted ground sesame seeds. I'm using a mortar and pestle, but if you don't have them, you can also crush them with your hands, so don't worry about it. Lastly, drizzle 1 tablespoon of sesame oil and gently toast it again. Because of that amazing nutty fragrance, you might feel like you are a Korean master chef or something. Alright, let's transfer it to a serving plate and let's go to our taste tester.
Claire. 오, 맛있어 보여. 오, 냄새 장난 아닌데. Look at this. Let me try it. 맛있다. 안 그래도 된장 그 자체가 되게 구수하고 풍미가 깊잖아. 근데 거기다가 고추의 아삭함이 들어가니까 뭔가 상쾌해지는 그런 느낌이야. 완전 맛있는데? 그리고 씹을 때마다 입에서 깨가 톡톡톡 터지는 게 고소함이 2배가 되는 느낌이야. 밥을 부르는 맛이다. Bring some rice. Yes, I've got some rice. 큰 놈으로다가 양념 많이 묻어있는 애. I'm so happy right now. Let me try it. This is it.
This time, I'm gonna make ramen. Of course with instant ramen and doenjang, Korean soybean paste. You will need pork belly, onion, green onion, mung bean sprouts, and ramen. For this recipe, you can use any kind of Korean ramen, except for this kind of seafood flavor or the one with no soup. I told you, I've done my part, so if you end up with something weird because you didn't take my advice, I'm not responsible. First, let's prep some vegetables. Slice a quarter of an onion into thin strips, and then finely chop some green onions. Actually, most of the soups taste better if you add more green onions, so always keep it in your mind. More green onion, more delicious. Now turn the heat to medium heat and add some pork. I'm using very thinly sliced pork because it goes well with ramen, but you can also use other cuts of pork. No problem at all. What? You don't like pork? Then try with some thinly sliced beef, but make sure to get fatty part. Then I think that could be more delicious than mine. Once it's cooked through, take it out and set it aside. Now change the heat to low heat and add 1 tablespoon of doenjang. When the pork fat meets Korean soybean paste, it creates amazing flavor. But be extra careful here because it can burn so easily. You already know you're gonna burn it at the end, then turn off the heat first and mix it. That way, you can save your ramen. Now add 2.5 cups of water along with seasoning powder, and then we're gonna bring it to boil over high heat. For information, depending on the brand, some soybean pastes are saltier than others. So don't add everything all at once. Just put around 2/3 and give it a quick taste. After that, add a little more if it's necessary. If it turns out too salty, I'm not responsible. Once it starts to boil, add in the onions, a half tablespoon of minced garlic, ramen, and a half tablespoon of Korean chili pepper flakes, and cook it for about 4 minutes. Now take out the noodles and pour the broth on top. Lastly, garnish the top with pork, green onions, mung bean sprouts, and egg. Can you believe this is made of instant ramen? Alright, let's see how it tastes.
Claire. Oh my goodness. 지난주에 라면 7개나 먹어가지고 한동안 라면 안 먹으려고 했건만 도와주질 않는구만. 맛은 있어 보인다. 짬뽕 같아 뭔가 느낌이. Oh my god, where is the noodles? 돼지고기에 대파에 숙주에 이건 인스턴트라고 할 수 없겠다. Ready? 국물. 오, 이게 된장 맛이야 이런 맛은 아니야. 근데 뭔가 부드러워지면서 풍미가 탁 올라갔네. 기대 안 했는데 맛있는데? 요것도 먹어봐야지. 토핑. 그리고 아주 크리스피하게 한 게 맛있어 보이네. 진짜 괜찮다 이거. 맛있다. 맛있어. 일주일 만에 회복될 거라고 생각하지 않았는데 진짜 맛있어.
If there's no soybean paste stew in this episode, there must be something wrong, right? So let me show you a super simple but authentic Doenjang Jjigae. So buckle up. You will need daikon, green onion, chili pepper, zucchini, onion, shiitake mushroom, tofu, and beef. Personally, I think it tastes best when it's cooked with beef. But if you prefer seafood, you can replace it with some clams or shrimp. No problem at all. First, let's prep the vegetables. Cut some daikon, green onion, zucchini, onion, and shiitake mushroom into bite-sized pieces. Here, I don't want you to cut these really small because if they're too small, you can't fully enjoy the textures because they're gonna get too mushy at the end. FYI, you can use any kind of mushrooms here, but I strongly recommend this shiitake mushroom because this guy is full of umami, so it's gonna add depth of flavor to your broth. Lastly, let's cut some chili pepper and tofu into small pieces. That's it. Let's get to cooking. Take out a wok or pot and put 4 cups of water, daikon, and 100 grams of beef. For beef, you can use any cuts of beef, but I recommend some fatty parts because that's gonna make your broth much deeper. Keep adding 6 tablespoons of doenjang, 1 tablespoon of Korean chili pepper flakes, 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, and give it a good stir until you can't see any big chunk of soybean paste. And then let's place it over medium-high heat and bring it to a boil for about 10 minutes. Now, let's add all the ingredients except for tofu and let it continue to boil for about 7 to 10 minutes. Actually, it doesn't matter if you add tofu right now, but if you want some fancy presentation, please hang in there. I have a plan. While it's boiling, bring your spoon and give it a quick taste. For Doenjang Jjigae, we don't need to use salt or soy sauce to season. If it's a little bland, add more doenjang. That's it. So simple, right? However, if you want to bring it to the next level, then add a half tablespoon of dashida, Korean beef stock powder. Then you may think you should open a Korean restaurant or something. You will. I'm serious. If you want to make it pretty like the one from Korean restaurants, bring your tukbaegi and transfer it to the pot. And then place some tofu, green onions, and chili peppers. How does it look? It looks super cool, right? This is the reason why I said save your tofu for later. Once it's back up to a boil, it's time to serve. Are you still thinking of opening a Korean restaurant with this? Our taste tester will give you the answer.
Claire?
You know what? I was expecting this Doenjang Jjigae will be definitely included in this episode because it's kind of soul food for Koreans. It's like a flower. Let me try the broth first. 오, 맛있네. 진하네. 국물이 진짜 진하네. 두부에도 약간 이렇게 국물을 적셔줘야 돼요. 그래야 더 맛있어. 두부가 야들야들해서 되게 맛있어 보였어. 대박. 진짜 맛있다. Tons of stuff in here. Look at this. Isn't it beautiful? More bite. 오, 이천장 달인 것처럼 엄청 뜨거운데 엄청 맛있어.
It seems Claire needs some protein, so let's make a special Korean barbecue, which is called Maekjeok, grilled pork marinated with Tenjang. When you are craving some Korean barbecue, but you want it to be easy and simple, this is it. For this, you will need pork, green onion, and onion. That's it. So simple, right? First, let's start with the marinade. In a mixing bowl, put 2.5 tablespoons of Korean soybean paste, a half tablespoon of soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 3 tablespoons of mirin, 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, 1 tablespoon of corn syrup, 1 tablespoon of sesame oil, a few shakes of black pepper, and mix it all together. Today, I'm using pork belly, but you can also use pork shoulder or pork loin. No problem at all. Now, let's give it a few slashes on both sides. But this is totally optional, but it will ensure that the marinade can get into the meat inside. After that, cut it into bite-sized pieces. Once you're done, put them in the mixing bowl and give it a massage, but not too hard. part. And then cover with a lid and give them some privacy in the fridge for about 30 minutes. While that's marinating, let's prep some vegetables. Slice one onion into thin strips and soak them in cold water to get rid of the strong onion flavor. And then finally chop some green onions. These guys will be a fantastic garnish at the end. Alright, let's get to cooking. Put some oil in a pan and wipe off the excess. Turn on the heat to medium heat and add in the pork. If you could use an outdoor grill, that would be the best because that's gonna give you a nice and smoky flavor. But since I don't have a backyard, I need to make a compromise here. But don't worry about it, still gonna be good. Meanwhile, if you have a cast iron pan, take it out and place it over medium heat. Once it's nice and hot, add some oil and put lots of onions here. After that, place all the pork on top of the onions. That's it. How does it look? It looks fabulous, right? Not only that, if you serve this way, you will be able to enjoy your food nice and hot until the end. Good news, right? Lastly, finish it up with green onions and sesame seeds. Alright, it's done. Let's go to our taste tester.
Claire?
Ooh, wow. I always thought doenjang is kind of a humble food. I've never imagined we can make this kind of fancy food. I'm so excited. 진짜 맛있어 보인다. 위에 윤기 쩌르르르 흐르고 깨의 파에 미쳤다 비주얼. I'm so ready for this. Let me try it. 진짜 맛있다. 고기 양념장에 재워서 하는 걸 대부분 간장에 한 것만 많이 먹어본 것 같거든 나는. 된장으로 하니까 장난 아니다. 또 색다른 느낌으로 풍미가 어마무시하다. 그러니까 먹는 순간 입에서 된장의 풍미가 어마무시하게 올라와. 이번엔 양파랑. I'm gonna put some onions on top and have it together. Super excited. 진짜 맛있겠다 이거. 양파의 향이 너무 독하지도 않고 돼지고기랑 너무너무 잘 어울린다. 굳이 뭐 양상추나 이런 거 필요 없이 그냥 이것만 먹어도 너무 맛있는 것 같아. 흐뭇해.
Today, I showed you 4 ways to enjoy your Tenjang, Korean soybean paste. With these recipes, I'm pretty sure you can use up your soybean paste before its expiration date. What? You want more? Maybe next time. Alright, this is it for today, and I'll see you next time.